Good morning, everybody. We'll call to order our September 3rd, 2019 regular meeting of the Mason County Board of Commissioners. We begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Patty McGuire, please lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do roll. If the clerk would please take roll.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. I think Commissioner Netherland has an adjustment he'd like to make.
Yes, today is a very special day. Leo Kim is celebrating his birthday. He's been a godsend to this county, and if you don't mind, let's take a moment and sing to him. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Leo. Happy birthday to you.
Congratulations, Leo, you survived it. And so we'll go into item 4.1, our correspondence.
Dan Dittmer sent in an application for the Veterans Advisory Board, and Daniel Grimm submitted a kudos letter about Planning Manager Kel Rowan.
Very good, thank you. And keeping with the auditor's office theme today, have item 4.2 have a presentation of our 2019 preliminary budget, and invite Auditor Patty McGuire to come forward. And our Chief Finance Officer, our Chief Finance Manager, Leo.
Mr. Chairman, Patty McGuire, Mason County Auditor. I'm going to try and keep this under 1 minute. I got the clock. One of my statutory duties is to prepare the preliminary budget and present it to you, and I am doing so. And Leo's here to answer any questions since it's his birthday.
Very good. Well, just
one more thing. If I can just say one more thing. So, I want to say kudos to the budget folks around the county. People were on time. It was a pleasure for our staff to work with them. We didn't have to fight with anybody this year. The system, I think things are going really well, and so I want to hats off to all the folks who helped put this together. Our office's piece was a relatively small part of that, but a lot of folks around the county worked really hard to get us here today. So thanks to them.
very good. Thank you, Mr. Auditor.
Excellent.
Good morning. Leo Kim, Chief Finance Officer for the Auditor's Office Financial Services. We are here to present the 2020 preliminary budget to Mason County. Over the last couple of months, the county has been working on the budget, obviously. And I would like to also thank the county staff of the Auditor's Office, as well as all of the departments, for partnering with us together to complete this project. In addition, the financial services staff audited and compiled the preliminary budget in its entirety. As always, the staff pretty much independently plans and completes the budget work in our office. And I have to say that I pretty much just stay out of their way and just let them go, and they do an awesome job. And this year, looking at the reports, they're very clean and easy to read, and every year they are, but this year they did an exceptional job. I'm just very proud of the staff. And then from that data, I prepare summaries and graphical information. We also work closely with the budget office, and they are always instrumental in completing the preliminary budget. So the preliminary budget is basically just a starting point, and it's a request from the various departments expressing what it would take to keep their departments going and what it would take to provide services to the county, to the various entities and communities in the county for 2020. We are submitting 3 separate groups of reports. The first group is a series of reports and graphs providing various trend information. The second and third groups are the detailed budgets for the current expense departments and the special funds. These reports will be available on the auditor website, and also I will be available after the meeting for any questions, and anytime you can come to my office or call or email, and I can walk you through the reports and explain anything. The actual numbers for the preliminary reports, the numbers are actually, they're a little bit skewed, but I will endeavor to kind of give you a summary. The 2020 estimated revenue for current expense, exclusive of estimated beginning fund balance, is approximately $37 million. Expenditure requests presented are $44 million, which leaves about $7 million to balance to preserve fund balance. The 2020 estimated beginning fund balance should be around $9 million, with ending fund balance around $3 million before budget workshops. After the workshops, I'm sure we'll have a higher estimated ending fund balance. Any questions?
Commissioners, any questions for Leo? Good. Thank you. Okay, very good. Moving on to item 4.3, a news release. Mason County Volunteer Board vacancies. Mason County Volunteer Boards looking for a way to give back to your community. Here is a list of volunteer advisory boards that need your help. Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging. Lewis is a local governmental agency that provides home and community services for seniors and adults with disabilities to help them remain living in their own homes. The Advisory Council makes recommendations to the governing board and staff. It is critical that Mason County is represented on this council so our seniors and adults with disabilities receive their fair share of services. This Advisory Council typically meets monthly in Olympia. Mason County Historic Preservation Commission. The major responsibility of the Historic Preservation Commission is to identify and actively encourage the conservation of Mason County's historic resources by initiating and maintaining a register of historic places and reviewing proposed changes to register properties. They also work to raise community awareness of Mason County's history and historic resources and serve as Mason County's primary resource in matters of history, historic planning, and preservation. This is a great way to help preserve our history, and meetings are held the second Thursday of the month at 2 p.m. in Shelton. Mason County Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. Members are appointed by the Board of Mason County Commissioners and includes representatives of businesses, i.e. motels, campgrounds, VRBO, Airbnb, that are required to collect lodging tax, which are generators, and members who are persons involved in activities, i.e. festivals, visitor information centers, that are authorized to be funded by lodging tax revenue, which are spenders. The committee reviews requests for lodging tax funding and makes recommendations to the commissioners regarding the use of lodging tax monies. This is done in an effort to increase tourism and bring people to our county to stay in our lodging establishments. The committee meets during regular business hours, usually not more than once a month. Noxious Weed Control Board. The Noxious Weed Control Board has the mission of working to protect the citizens, natural resources including lakes, shellfish, and timber, livestock, and agricultural resources of Mason County from the degrading effects of noxious weed invasions. The board works to identify priority weed issues and develops a strategy to control noxious weeds with the cooperation of residents and agencies in the county. This board meets a few times a year in Shelton. Parks and Trails Advisory Board. The Mason County Parks and Trails Advisory Board provides recommendations to the Board of Commissioners regarding the planning, acquisition, and development of parks, trails, and related programs in Mason County. The Mason County Parks and Trails Advisory Board meets the fourth Thursday of each month at 5:15 p.m. Planning Advisory Commission. If you want to influence Mason County's long-term direction and vision for our growth, the Planning Advisory Commission is for you. The PAC is a 7-member, hardworking citizen board appointed to advise the Board of Commissioners on policy related to amendments to the Comprehensive Plan, Shoreline Master Program, and land use regulations. This commission takes an investment of your time and energy and typically meets at least once per month on the third Monday at 6 p.m. in Shelton, and may also have additional evening meetings. Solid Waste Advisory Committee. Where does all that garbage go? That's a good question. The Solid Waste Advisory Committee reviews and makes recommendations to the commissioners regarding solid waste and special waste management in Mason County, including disposal rates, disposal options, waste reduction, recycling, household hazardous waste, and composting programs. If you have a personal or professional interest in waste management, you can help develop comprehensive plans for our community. The Solid Waste Advisory Committee typically meets once a month at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays in our Public Works building. Transportation Improvement Program Citizens Advisory Panel. Mason County has one of the best road systems in our state, and the mission of TIPCAP is to represent citizen transportation interests throughout Mason County for all modes of travel during the development of the 6-year Transportation Improvement Program. The TIPCAP will review and analyze Mason County's transportation needs and make recommendations to the Board of Mason County Commissioners. This board meets the second Wednesday of the month at 5:30 p.m. in our Public Works building. Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization Advisory Board. The role of the advisory board is to advise the Thurston Mason BHO Governing Board on matters relating to mental health and substance use disorder services in Thurston and Mason counties. Each member is expected to represent all citizens of the 2 counties in their recommendations and advice. This board generally meets the 4th Monday of every month from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Timberland Regional Library Board. The TRL Board of Trustees is a 5-county rural library district which includes Grays Harbor, Lewis, Mason, Pacific, and Thurston counties. The board is made up of 7 members, 1 from the 5 counties included in the district, and 2 at-large members. This is an unpaid position, although travel and board-related expenses are reimbursable. The TRL Board of Trustees attends monthly meetings and scheduled events. Board meetings are generally scheduled on the 4th Wednesday of each month at 5:30 p.m. If the meeting date interferes with holidays or conferences, the meeting is held on the 3rd or 5th Wednesday. There are usually 6 meetings a year held in Tumwater and 6 meetings held in other areas of the district. Veterans Advisory Board. The Veterans Advisory Board is a 10-member board appointed to advise the Board of Commissioners on policy related to veterans assistance. The advisory board typically meets monthly on the 2nd Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. at the Memorial Hall, with special meetings scheduled as necessary. For more information on any of the above boards, please visit our website, www.co.mason.wa.us//AC/index.php, or contact Mason County at 360-427-9670. If you are interested in serving on one of these boards, we highly encourage you to attend a meeting so you know if it's the right board for you. Okay. Moving on to item number 5, it's our open forum for citizen input. It's an opportunity for members of the public to address the commission on items not on today's agenda. If you'd like to address the commission on an item not on today's agenda, raise your hand. The chair will recognize you. You can come forward to the podium and state your name. Kevin?
Good morning, commissioners, staff, audience members, and those watching. My name is Kevin Frankieberger. I live at Lake Limerick. Bear with me as I'm blind. I have some residual sight, so in huge print I can get through this. As I briefed the commissioners on July 22nd, we have a wonderful opportunity to join just 10 other counties out of 39 to form an Accessible Community Advisory Council, or ACAC for short. The group will include those with disabilities, seniors, and those who provide services to these groups. These are true subject matter experts when it comes to identifying the obstacles in our county that impede accessibility. Once formed through this group, the county can access funds from the state. At this moment, $450,000 is waiting for the asking. So forming an ACAC is not only the right thing to do, but funding comes with it for a change. The first meeting will be Friday, October 4th at 10 a.m. in the Vote County room in this building. Auditor Patty McGuire is asking the Accessible Voting Task Force members to become part of ACAC. I'm hoping you commissioners will recruit members from your bases as well. I am but the spark plug of this effort. They'll take the entire engine to smoothly and quickly get this group up and running, and money then coming back to the state to solve issues. My apologies to your staff and those Auditor Petty offices staff, as in my working life I supervised and managed the entire engine. I sort of fell into old leadership habits and tried to lead an administrative staff, which is not mine to lead. Again, I'm sorry, and I'm back to my spark plug role. Support staff get back to me, and any help I can give, I'm willing to do that. But I'll let your leaders do the lead, and I'll stay in the background. In disability awareness keynotes, in seminars, I do always say disability awareness is simply working from the heart. This is why I'm asking our county to step up now. Of course, we must pay attention to what the ADA mandates, but that's just the beginning. That is federal law, and of course the county must pay attention. But these efforts should just be the foundation, the beginning. With your support, with your giving staff support, to our November meeting, together we can do much more. Build on the foundation again. There's external money to fund and manage the process. One day I hope we can boast to employers, citizens, and tourists that Mason County is the most accessible county in the state of Washington. Working together, we can get that done. Thanks.
Very good, thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 6, adoption of today's agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda for September 3rd, 2019.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda for September 3rd, 2019. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, there are no minutes to approve today, so we can move on to item number 8, which is approval of our action agenda today. Commissioners will read through the items on today's action agenda, at which time a commissioner or a member of the public may ask to have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote. Commissioner Netherland, if you'd please take 8.1 through 8.3, Commissioner Trask 8.4 through 6, and I'll take the remainder.
Be happy to, Mr. Chair. Approval. Item number 8.1, approval of a 1.7% increase to the 2020 field rental rates consistent with Resolution 65-18. Item number 8.2, approval of a resolution appointing Frank Pinter as the Mason County Applicant Agent for Recreation and Conservation Office, RCO, grant number 18-1269D. And approval to have the chair sign the RCO applicant authorization form. Item number 8.3, approval to amend the contract with Mason General Hospital to provide hepatitis B vaccinations, respirator, FIT medical reviews, testing and supplies, and approval to have the chair sign that contract.
Item 8.4, approval to transfer $15,000 from salaries to operating expense within the assessor's office for a new server. Item 8.5, approval to adopt a resolution amending Resolution 68-19, Mason County Personnel Policy, to amend Chapter 4.2, Hours of Work and Overtime, Chapter 4.3, Compensatory Time, Chapter 5.5, Salary for Exempt Employees, and Chapter 13, Vehicle Use Policy. Also, the addition of Chapter 5.10, Uniform Allowance, and effective December 31st, 2019. Rename Chapter 7.9, Shared Leave Program, to Washington Paid Family and Leave and Medical Leave. Item 8.6, approval of modification number 3 to agreement 16-PA-110609000-006 between the USDA Forest Service and Mason County Noxious Weed Control Board.
Item 8.7, approval of warrants and treasurer electronic remittances. Claims clearing fund warrant numbers 8066660 through 8066674 in the amount of $43,587.62. Direct deposit fund warrant numbers 61442 through 61836 in the amount of $749,108.78. And salary clearing fund warrant numbers 7004637 through 7004664 in the amount of $534,101.35. And item 8.8, approval of a contract between Mason County Public Health and Online RME LLC for the sewage system maintenance database. Having read through all the items on today's action agenda, are there any items, commissioners, you would like to have removed for a separate discussion and vote?
Nothing.
Okay. Any members of the public have an item they would like to have removed for a separate discussion and vote? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the action agenda as presented.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the action agenda as presented. Any additional discussion?
Just props to our staff for all the hard work and the success they have in changing that personnel or amending the personnel policy. Thank you very much for your work.
Very good, thank you. Any additional discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, other business. Any department heads or elected officials that wish to address the
No.
commission?
Morning, Commissioners. Christopher Nelson, Mason County's Permit Office. Just last week, the ICC did release their August 2019 building valuation data form, which I just gave you a copy of. And as a courtesy to our citizens and partners here, I would like to acknowledge that the International Code Council's building valuation data is up, and per Mason County Ordinance 9118, these rates become adopted into the development fee schedule the following September, so it takes place today. So, any questions, they can contact Permit Center at 360-427-9670, extension 352, or they can go online and view these tables at www.iccsafe.org, and they'll have them there.
Very good, thank you. Any other department heads or elected officials to address the commission? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item 10.1. We have a public hearing to correct the sale of parcels 32021-56-02003 and 32021-56-02004, and ask staff to brief.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Diane Zorn, Support Services. I'm stepping in for Frank Pincher today, who's not in. So as stated, it's a public hearing to consider the sale of the 2 parcels on East Panorama Drive. They are tax title property that were actually approved to sell back on August 13th, but due to a clerical error, the name on the paperwork wasn't correct. So it should be sold to Stephen and Debbie Smith and Brandon and Crystal Jennings in the total amount of $11,000.
Okay, very good. Any questions for staff, commissioners? Okay, any questions for from the public for staff? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into public comment. If you'd like to make comment on item 10.1, raise your hand. The chair will recognize you. Come forward to the podium, state your name, make your comment. Anyone for public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, we'll close public comment and move to commissioner deliberation or motion.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval to sell parcel 32021-56-02003 and 32021-56-02004 in the amount of $11,000 to Stephen and Debbie Smith, Brandon and Crystal Jennings.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to sell parcels 32021-56-02003 and 32021-56-02004 in the amount of $11,000 to Stephen and Debbie Smith and Brandon and Crystal Jennings. Any additional discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion carries. Moving on to item number 11, our board reports and calendars. I'll get us started. Commissioner Netherland, if you'd go second, and we'll finish up with Commissioner Trask. Just a quick item from last week. Our public health office, is, along with community partners, hosted 2 overdose awareness events in the community, one in Belfair and one in Shelton. And I know Commissioner Netherland was in Belfair. Commissioner Trask and I were at the Shelton event, and just a tremendous turnout. And I'm sure Commissioner Netherland and Trask will speak to this as well, but just a tremendous turnout, I think, at both events, and it really speaks to how this is a community effort to overcome the issues of addiction, substance use disorder, and overdose in our communities. One of the things that was very striking, we're a small community. We've had 85 overdose deaths since 2012. Because of some of the funding that we've received in the past couple of years and some of the programming we've been able to put into place, we've drastically reduced that number. We had 1 opioid overdose death last year. We're making progress on it, but it's a total community effort, and it was so humbling to see so many people come out last week to support those efforts. And so just a tip of the hat to our folks in public health who are in the trenches working this every day and making progress in our community. Going forward this week, I have a meeting with Crossroads Housing. Then I'll have a housing authority tour, as well as a meeting with Scott Brewer from the Hood Canal Coordinating Council, Shelton Rotary, and then Mason County Republican Women's Lunch to finish the week off. Commissioner?
Okay, and Again, as was mentioned, I attended the opioid walk for awareness in Belfair. It was very well attended. And I want to remind everybody out there that's watching on TV to remember that Narcan, the chemical that you can give somebody when they're overdosing, is now available at pharmacies without a prescription for free. And you got to remember, quite often when you do things like that, you're not buying it or purchasing or getting it for you. You're getting it to save somebody else's life because you happen to have it. When somebody collapses in front of you, you see it, you get to be the one that steps into action. You have an opportunity to be a hero, but you've got to be able to go down and make something happen by getting that Narcan in order to be in the position to be the hero. So please, do something about it. I have mine. I know that at the one in Belfair, George from Nita's, he's got a restaurant here in Shelton here, and he has that type of issues that arise. He went and got his Narcan also, and the staff at the county will show you how to use it. We'll get you to a video to get you training if you need, but you can also pick it up through the county, so please remember that and take advantage of that opportunity. I also attended Mason Transit Authority building committee and facilities. I met with the Humane Society in Kitsap County, as well as the chief of police for Shelton and their animal control officer, working on putting some things together and trying to hopefully find a way to contract with Humane Society to be able to handle our animals from this county. We're just looking at the different options. There's nothing more to it at this point. I met with a young entrepreneur that really gives me hope for the future. He's a North Mason graduate. He started in a new business, and he asked if I would meet with him to give him advice and to help him to find some solutions to some issues that he's dealing with. Being a lifelong entrepreneur, it was wonderful to sit and look at this young man and realize that the sky's the limit with some of these people, and I really look forward to being able to help him, and I think he's going to do well for this county. I also had a meeting of the Left Board this next week. We will all be together, I think, for the Housing Association or that walkthrough on the housing. I have a meeting in Allen Community Association. I have the YRA 15 meeting, and I may also show up at the Women Are. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Give them an opportunity to have input with me also. Other than that, that's all I got.
Very good, thank you.
Well, last week I took a landfill tour up in Roosevelt, and it was very interesting. It was the second tour I had. First tour, it was really foggy, so we weren't able to see a lot. But the second tour, it was very interesting. I encourage everyone to go out and tour the landfill. It'll give you a good idea of what happens to our garbage after it leaves here, and what they're using with the gas that comes from the garbage. So it's pretty
Methane.
interesting. It's recyclable. It's pretty cool. Also, last week, kind of a personal note. My mother-in-law has dementia, and the area on aging is helping me find help taking care of her. So that's one of the public committees. So if you're interested in serving on a committee, highly encourage you to check out some of our committees, because they do help the public and families. And then also, I attended the overdose awareness walk. One of the stories was told by a niece. Her uncle passed away from overdose. And seeing how it affects not just the immediate family, but members of the family outside, was pretty touching. My nephew passed away from overdose also. So it's important that we all know and we recognize the symptoms. So moving on to this week, I have an Oakland Bay Clean Water meeting tomorrow. Also attending the Housing Authority tour. There's also a canine event at Burger Clean tomorrow. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to attend that, but we'll see. And then Friday is the Republican Women's Monthly Meeting. Saturday, I'll be attending the 9th annual Wilcox G.T. Wilcox Salmon Bake. I was hoping not to volunteer to help this year, but they need volunteers, so if anyone's interested, please give them a call. And then I will be out of town next week, so unavailable, probably won't have much access to internet.
Okay, Commissioner.
I may also be at the Burger Claim. I'll be at a different table, and we may be passing each other on that one. And since both of you will be at the Women R, I will not be attending. There's no need for me to be there if you guys are there. So they'll have perfect, plenty input to the commission. I think that's wonderful.
Great. Okay, having reached the end of our agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned. Everybody have a good day.